Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video day, and today the Alabama Crimson Tide pull off a huge upset against the Georgia Bulldogs as Alabama, the 17th ranked team in the country, beats number 5 Georgia. Incredible win. I mean, think about where Alabama has where they started this season. That brutal loss against Florida State. And in these last 3 weeks, they've really, they've had a bye in between that. It really turned things around, and this was a huge statement win by Alabama. Kalen DeBoer and Ty Simpson. Alabama got a lot of heat after that Florida State loss, and people were calling for Kalen DeBoer's job, and I don't know if people are still going to be doing that anymore after this road win by Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, Ty Simpson, and the rest of the Crimson Tide. Great win. And I think it's crazy to look back as this college football week is ending, the fact that in the top 6 of the country, there's only one team this week that won in the top 6. That was number 1 Ohio State. Now, let's not think about with Miami, that they had the bye this week, so only 4 teams lost, but look at the rest of everybody. LSU, Penn State, Georgia, Florida State. Teams through, the ranks of 3 through 6 all lost this week. So there's going to be a lot of shaking up in the top 6. Look, I don't really look at any of the top teams that were in the top 6. I don't think any of them are staying. Like LSU, who is at 4, I don't think they're going to stay in the top 6. I think at 3, Penn State might have a shot at staying right at 6, but they might fall to 7. You might see 4, at least. I think you're going to see at least 3 new teams in the top 6. Could be 4. So it's going to be the rankings. How the rankings come out tomorrow, I think, is going to be very intriguing. Really excited for it. All right. But let's move on. This was a great game. 24-21 win for Alabama. 3rd win in a row. First win on the SEC this year. This was their first SEC game. Georgia is now 1-1 versus SEC opponents. They had the Tennessee win. They're lucky they're not 2-2 with that Tennessee game. If they lost that Tennessee game and then lost this game, they might be unranked or close to being unranked. And so, but lucky enough for them, they kind of got bailed out in that Tennessee game. Not like the refs did anything, but Tennessee had that easy field goal to make, and they missed it. But they should be around, I think, 8, 9, or 10 potentially after this loss. All right, scoring summary. Ty Simpson threw the first touchdown of the game to Bernard 7-0, and then Simpson threw a second touchdown pass to Isaiah Horton to make it 14-0. Then Gunnar Stockton, who did not have a huge passing day today, threw a touchdown 38 yards to Colby Young to make it 14-7. Then Connor Tulty for Alabama made a 24-yard field goal, 17-7. And Chauncey Bowens for Georgia had a 2-yard touchdown run going into halftime, but that was not it. Ty Simpson would have a 2-yard touchdown run for Alabama at the end of half, and Alabama would not score at all in the second half. So the Alabama's offense was terrible in the second half. But what was really good was their defense, only limiting Georgia to 7 points in the second half. And that was a Josh McCray 1-yard touchdown run. The final score is 24-21. All right, game leaders. Ty Simpson threw 24 for 38 with 2 touchdown passes and 276 passing yards. Gunnar Stockton threw 13 for 20 without 1 touchdown pass. Rushing yards, Miller threw 16 carries and 46 rushing yards for Alabama. Bowens with 119 rushing yards and 12 carries and a touchdown. So Alabama was getting killed on the run game. Then for Alabama, their leader in receiving yards was actually Horton. It was Isaiah Horton with 65 receiving yards on 5 receptions and 1 touchdown. And the leader in tackles for Alabama was Hubbard with 9, and You saw 8 tackles for Allen, the linebacker. Let's cover some other stats real quick. You saw Alabama throw one. There was another pass. Wide receiver Bernard threw a 4-yard pass in this game, and then Bernard also had 20 rushing yards. So he was involved in everything. Receiving yards with 35 receiving yards and a touchdown, then 20 rushing yards, and then 4 passing yards. He was involved everywhere today for Alabama. Ryan Williams today for Alabama had no catches. There were a couple targets. All right, so wait, sorry. 5 receptions, 43 receiving yards for Ryan Williams. I completely missed his name at number 2 for Alabama and leading with receiving yards. And then Zachary Branch had 3 receptions and 35 receiving yards for Georgia. Fumbles, there was a lost fumble for Georgia in this game. Nate Frazier lost a fumble recovered by Deontay Lawson. And Alabama had a total of only 1 sack, half a sack for Edric Hill and LT Overtone, and only 1 sack for Georgia as well. That went to Chris Cole. No interceptions in this game. Alabama wins 24-21. We will see where these two teams go in the rankings. Because if you ask me, Alabama, of course, they have the same record, Georgia and Alabama. Alabama's got to be over Georgia now after this win. Let's see how big of a jump Alabama takes. I could see potentially Alabama going either 8 or 7 spot, and then maybe Georgia being 9 or 10 potentially. I could see Alabama right at 8, and then you see Georgia at 9, or Alabama right at 7, and then Georgia right at 8. I think these teams, it's a good chance you might see these teams right next to each other in the rankings, and Alabama in front of Georgia. You guys let me know your thoughts on the Alabama 24-21 win in the comment section, and peace out.